A good magician can ask you to pick a card, any card, and they'll tell you what you're holding in your hand. But a mentalist will ask you to picture any card from an imaginary deck and tell you which card is in your mind. Right now, the mentalist on people's minds, and going viral for it, is a 43-year-old father of 5 named Oz Pearlman. Oz insists he does not have supernatural powers. He reads people. He reads them so well that when we met him this past spring, his head games had me jumping out of the chair mid-interview and mystified celebrities, billionaires, and athletes.
And now, please welcome to the stage mentalist and mind reader Oz Pearlman.
The Robin Hood Foundation Gala draws the kind of crowd that ponies up $72 million at one dinner, with athletes like NFL quarterback Russell Wilson in attendance.
Question for you is, when I was young, I had a poster on my wall of someone, and you're no way in hell you're gonna get this.
He said no way in hell. I didn't say those words, he said those words.
No way.
Which means there's no way it was a football player. Also, notice the nervous twitching with the hands. Hands here, always a female. Is it a female? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oz Pearlman went to work on him.
I don't read minds, I read people. Here's what I want you to do. Russell, count the number of letters in the first name just to yourself. Not out loud, just to yourself. There's the tell, right? You call an audible. He finished counting and he looked up. 6 letters, isn't it?
It is 6 letters.
Yeah. Russell, you're sitting there, 6th grade, you're looking up. She's looking back at you.
She was.
Tell us all, who was in that poster? Say it.
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain!
There's no way.
You'd think a room full of millionaires, including tech titan Alexis Ohanian, might be hard to pull one over on.
Turn it around. Show
Warlock!
everybody!
I mean, what?
Bro!
You're a wizard.
Come on, man.
But Oz says this is his perfect audience.
People that are very intelligent are much easier because their mind is regimented in a certain way. Like I perform for Nobel laureates, and you go, this is one of the most intelligent people on the planet. I go, hook, line, and sinker, let's go. This is gonna be a cakewalk.
Seriously?
Yeah, because they think a certain way. It's so much easier to fool.
Oz is the first to admit his act is based on one big lie.
The lie is that I can read your mind.
You're sitting here today telling me you're not mind reading.
That's correct. And it's funny because some people, even though I go to great extremes to tell people that I am not a psychic or supernatural, I have people that come up to me after shows who are at the highest level where I can't say names because I don't want to embarrass people.
Say names.
Of like CEOs of major Fortune 100 companies who have called me and say, can you help me on negotiating a deal soon?
So you're gonna tell me how you do this?
I'm not gonna tell you. That doesn't do well for my job security.
But he does drop hints. Oz says he studies body language to read what's going on in someone's mind.
I can always see it when someone's eyes shift. Also, the lingering hands in pockets, always indicator of another guy. Guy-to-guy interaction. Is it a guy? Of course it is. I'm getting you to make very specific choices, right? In my show, I guess a lot of things such as numbers, such as words, such as names, things that have seemingly an infinite amount of possibilities, but do they? No. I've figured out how to kind of take a piece of information that seems too impossible, I can build up in a big way, and create a lot more of a limited subset than you think.
Is it deception?
When I perform, I explain to people what I'm doing. I like to leave breadcrumbs along the way. If you feel like you know a little bit, then you're hooked. Now you're intrigued. It keeps getting in your brain. It cycles over and over. It drives you crazy for a few weeks or months, and you tell other people. And that's my goal, right? I think the first number of your code's a 1, isn't it? Your real PIN code.
My ATM
PIN code.
Why would I tell you that on the air?
In June, Oz guessed Joe Rogan's ATM PIN code, leaving the podcaster befuddled.
How'd I do, Joe? Is that your ATM PIN code?
Yeah.
He looked like he wanted to punch you.
I think so.
I'm skeptical because I've got that PIN code in the mail.
He's calling his bank right now and being like, Joe, do you know this? Has this guy been playing the long game?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oz says it's skepticism from the audience that is key to making his act work.
I'm sure you've gone online and seen some of the community of critics out there who have accused you of wearing a fake thumb to be able to secretly write something.
Sure.
You're laughing. To go so far as to have someone on your team follow someone like a Joe Rogan around
Right.
so that you could secretly see his ATM code before you sat down face to face.
I love that.
How about you give me a yes or no that's actually not true or false, first of all?
I can't answer every single one, but man, if you think that I followed Joe Rogan around to get his ATM PIN code, I love that answer. But no, I did not follow Joe Rogan around. If you have these theories, that means I'm in your brain. I'm taking up real estate in your mind and you're thinking about it.
Name either hearts, just say hearts or diamonds.
The real estate empire he's built up in his audience's mind is the result of thousands of hours of repetition in front of a mirror and more than 30 years of an obsession with his craft.
Trust me.
The Pearlman family emigrated from Israel and moved to Michigan. At 13, Oz's parents took him on a cruise ship vacation.
I had never seen a magician in person. I was brought on stage. He'd performed this trick with me as the person, and I was blown away.
Back on land, he checked out every magic book he could find and got a part-time job so he could buy every trick in the neighborhood magic shop.
Turn it over. That's the only card in the deck.
As his audience grew, Oz dropped the card tricks and turned to the mind games of mentalism.
What you're doing is not magic.
So I would describe it as a subset of magic. I do magic of the mind. I no longer need to... See how when I look there, you look there? That's the number one thing you learn in magic, misdirection. When you make an elephant appear or disappear, the elephant was always there. The elephant didn't really vanish into thin air. We all know that. I made you look in the place I want you to look by using skills. When you take magic to a higher and higher level, you start to get rid of all the props.
You said, I like putting words in people's heads.
Yep.
How do you do that?
How you're gonna think is shockingly under my control. It's almost like the way a puppet gets moved around. Certain moments where you're right now about to change your mind and I move you in another direction, you don't realize that you're about to do something, but that your mind works in a certain way.
I know you said your goal is to not creep people out,
Right.
but I gotta tell you, what you just said is pretty creepy.
Right.
Under my control, like a puppet.
Sure, the moment I lose control is the moment the trick falls apart.
The tricks have fallen apart in front of very large audiences. The magic is in Oz's ability to pivot in the moment, keep from panicking, and make us all think he pulled it off. Oz wanted weatherman Al Roker to pick a celebrity who would run for president in 2016. He wanted him to say Taylor Swift. The trick failed. This is Oz recovering in real time.
Who is that celebrity you have in mind? Who's running Shock Us?
George Clooney.
George Clooney.
Yes.
Anybody else? Any women?
Taylor Swift.
Okay, I like it. We're going instead of Hillary. You know, what? I have a prediction I just thought of. I just want to show you. I planned ahead the campaign slogan, Taylor Swift for president. And so in that moment, it's hyper-focus of saying to him, and what if it could be anybody else? What if? And so I was steering him back on track to what I thought would work. And so it looked even more amazing because it seemed like he changed his mind at the last moment.
So it worked.
Thank God.
He's now growing a new fan base, performing for NFL and college football teams.
Point and show me where you felt me touch you. How many times did you feel me touch you?
Twice.
The clips have gone viral,
Saquon, give him a hand for help me out.
and the league's top coaches are calling on Oz to help teams bond off the field.
Tell us all, out of the whole grocery store, you're walking up and down the aisles, you pick anything, what did you pick up and buy? Tell us.
M&M's.
You know what, Saquon?
So how much preparation goes into a gig like this?
Last whole year, since the last season ended, I have been ideating, formulating, thinking, what am I gonna do this time?
In August, we went with him to the Los Angeles Rams practice facility.
Who was it?
Devin Witherspoon, Seattle.
Don't ever doubt me again, Rams. Don't say it.
For over an hour, Oz did half a dozen tricks, including an old favorite, the ATM PIN code. This time, he had safety Cam Curl play mind reader on Coach Sean McVay.
And suddenly a voice will enter into your mind and start to tell you Coach's pin code. Do you believe this?
Yeah.
No, say no. Never say yes to voices in the head. Never say that. So I want you to look right at him. Look right at him. Cam, see into his eyes. And one digit at a time, tell Coach, what is his ATM pin code?
5, 8, 3, 1.
I mean, there's got to be something really gratifying for you to be able to get a 300-pound grown man to freak out on camera.
I love it. It's this feeling of wonder that you not only do not know how it's done, but it's the feeling it gives you, right? It's like certain movies give me goosebumps, and you don't get that often.
I think the number one factor in success.
Oz says he makes most of his money from private corporate events. His next public move is to offer up lessons with a new take on the classic self-help book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, offering advice on how to use mentalism in everyday life.
My book is not about teaching you to be a mentalist, because there's books about that. And so I want to teach people not to be a mentalist, but how to think like a mentalist.
We'd studied Oz and his tricks and were skeptical he'd be able to pull one over on us. Then, at the end of our interview, he asked me to name a place I've always wanted to go but have never been.
Tell us the place. Tell us the place you thought of. What you said? I want to go there. Can't wait to say it. What
Vietnam.
Was it? Vietnam? And you were about to say somewhere different. That was the key. You were about to change your mind. Say the other place you were thinking of.
Thailand.
Thailand was the other one you were going to go with.
Come on! How did you get that? Of all the countries in the world, did you like hack my phone?
I've hacked your brain.
What the heck?
For the grand finale, he asked me to come up with a question impossible for him to know the answer.
Ask me the question.
Who was my third grade teacher who had a paddle above the classroom door?
This is not written down. This is not posted. This is nowhere but in your brain, this question.
Right.
Correct?
Right.
0.
Right.
You know what? You're not going to tell the truth. You're going to lie.
I'm not gonna lie.
No, I want you to. I want you to.
Okay, you want me to lie.
I want you to
Got
do
it.
a lie instead. Do the lie instead of the truth.
I did. I thought of my high school teacher rather than my third grade teacher to try to stump him.
Say it. What is it?
Flannery.
Sister Flannery.
Okay, now you're freaking me out.
How often have you wondered what your spouse is really thinking, or your boss, or the guy sitting across from you on the bus? We all take as a given that we'll never really know for sure. The content of our thoughts is our own, private, secret, unknowable by anyone else, until now, that is. Neuroscience research into how we think and what we're thinking is advancing at a stunning rate, making it possible for the first time in human history to peer directly into the brain to read out the physical makeup of our thoughts. Some would say, to read our minds. This is the technology that is transforming what once was science fiction into just plain science. It's a specialized use of MRI scanning called functional MRI, fMRI for short, that makes it possible to see what's going on inside the brain while people are thinking.
Every time I walk into that scanner room and I see the person's brain appear on the screen, when I see those patterns, it is just incredible, unthinkable.
Mind reading, what do you call it?
Thought identification.
Whatever you want to call it, what neuroscientist Marcel Just and his colleague Tom Mitchell at Carnegie Mellon University have done is combine fMRI's ability to look at the brain in action with computer science's new power to sort through massive amounts of data. The goal? To see if they could identify exactly what happens in the brain when people think specific thoughts.
Okay, are you ready to get started?
They did an experiment where they asked subjects to think about 10 objects, 5 of them tools like screwdriver and hammer, and 5 of them dwellings like igloo and castle, then recorded and analyzed the activity in their brains for each. You had them think about a screwdriver, and the computer found the place in the brain where that person was thinking screwdriver?
Screwdriver isn't one place in the brain, it's many places in the brain. When you think of a screwdriver, you think about how you hold it, how you twist it, what it looks like, what you use it for.
And each of those functions are in different places?
Correct.
Just as when we think screwdriver or igloo, for example, neurons start firing at varying levels of intensity in different areas throughout the brain.
And we found that we could identify which object they were thinking about from their brain activation patterns.
You're reading their mind.
We're identifying the thought that's occurring. It's
Whoa.
incredible, just incredible.
Are you saying that if you think of a hammer, that your brain is identical to my brain when I think of a hammer?
Not identical. We have idiosyncrasies. Maybe I've had a bad experience with a hammer and you haven't, but it's close enough to identify each other's thoughts. So, that was never known before.
We asked if his team was up for a challenge. Would they take our associate producer, Megan Frank, whose brain had never been scanned before, and see if the computer could identify her thoughts? Justin Mitchell agreed to give it a try and see if they could do it in almost real time.
So you've never done an instant analysis, as we might say on television?
Nobody's done this ever.
That's actually her brain?
That's her brain.
Inside the scanner, Megan was shown a series of 10 items and asked to think for a few seconds about each one.
If it all comes out right, when she's thinking hammer, the computer will know she's thinking hammer.
Right. Okay, we're all done.
So Megan,
Yes.
how was it?
It wasn't bad.
Good.
Within minutes, the computer, unaware of what pictures Megan had been shown, and working only from her brain activity patterns as read out by the scanner, was ready to tell us, in its own voice, what it believed was the first object Megan had been thinking about.
I think the word is knife.
All right, one.
Right. Bingo. All right.
Then the second.
I think the word is hammer.
All right.
I think the word is window.
It's perfect, right?
So far.
And it continued to be, word after word.
Apartment.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Well done, well done.
Good thinking.
And of course, this is just the beginning.
Exactly.
Who knows what you're going to be able to read? It's
That's
a little
right.
scary, actually.
Well, that's our research program for the next 5 years.
What?
To see how, we're not satisfied with hammer.
And neither are neuroscientists 4,000 miles away in Berlin at the Bernstein Center. John Dylan Haynes is hard at work here, using the scanner not just to identify objects people are thinking about, but to read their intentions.
So we're going to start now with the actual experiment.
Subjects were asked to make a simple decision, whether to add or subtract two numbers they would be shown later on. Haynes found he could read directly from the activity in this small part of the brain that controls intentions what they had decided to do.
This is a kind of blown up version of the brain activity happening here. And you can see that if a person is planning to add or to subtract, the pattern of brain activity is different in these two cases.
I always tell my students that there is no science fiction anymore. All the science fiction I read in high school, we're doing.
To Paul Root-Wolpe, director of the Center for Ethics at Emory University in Atlanta, the ability to read our thoughts and intentions this way is revolutionary.
Throughout history, we could never actually coerce someone to reveal information. Torture doesn't work that well. Persuasion doesn't work that well. The right to keep one's thoughts locked up in their brain is amongst the most fundamental rights of being human.
You're saying that if someone can read my intentions, we have to talk about who might in the future be able to do that.
Absolutely. Whether we're going to let the state do it or whether we're going to let me do it. I have 2 teenage daughters. I come home one day and my car is dented, and both of them say they didn't do it. Am I going to be allowed to drag them off to the local brain imaging lie detection company and get them put in a scanner? We don't know.
But before we've even started the debate, there are 2 companies already offering lie detection services using brain scans. one with the catchy name No Lie MRI. But our experts caution that the technique is still unproven. In the meantime, Haynes is working on something he thinks may be even more effective, reading out from your brain exactly where you've been. Haynes showed me an experiment he created out of a video game.
And you can actually navigate around if you want.
He had me navigate through a series of rooms in different virtual reality houses.
Now I would put you in a scanner and I would show you some of these scenes that you've seen and some scenes that you haven't seen.
Well, haven't seen
So,
anything yet. Oh, okay.
And,
okay, now I'm getting
do you
into
recognize
familiar
something?
Yeah, I recognize the bar.
And right at this moment, we would be able to tell from your brain activity that you've already seen this environment before.
And so this is a potential tool for
It's a potential
police.
tool, absolutely.
In the case of break-ins.
You might be able to tell if someone's been in an Al-Qaeda training camp before.
Have any national security agencies been in touch with you?
Not in the US.
Anywhere in the world?
Yes, in Germany, but...
So there are people who are considering these kinds of possibilities.
And using them. In India last summer, a woman was convicted of murder after an EEG of her brain allegedly revealed that she was familiar with the circumstances surrounding the poisoning of her ex-fiancé.
Can you, through our legal system, be forced to take one of these tests?
It's a great question, and the legal system hasn't decided on this yet.
But we do have a Fifth Amendment. We don't have to incriminate ourselves.
Well, here's where it gets very interesting, because the Fifth Amendment only prevents the courts from forcing us to testify against ourselves. But you can force me to give DNA or a hair sample or blood, even if that would incriminate me. So here's the million-dollar question. If you can brain image me and get information directly from my brain, is that testimony, or is that like DNA, blood, semen, and other things that you could take from me?
Court case, inevitable.
There will be a Supreme Court case about this.
There you go. For now, it's impossible to force someone to have his or her brain scanned because the subject has to lie still and cooperate. But that could change.
There are some other technologies that are being developed that may be able to be used covertly and even remotely. So, for example, they're trying to develop now a beam of light that would be projected onto your forehead. It would go a couple of millimeters into your frontal cortex, and then receptors would get the reflection of that light. And there's some studies that suggest that we could use that as a lie detection device.
And we wouldn't know we've got a red dot in our forehead?
No, you wouldn't. If you were sitting there in the airport and being questioned, they could beam that on your forehead without your knowledge. We can't do that yet, but they're working on it.
Scary as that is, imagine a world where companies could read our minds too. Light beams may be a bit far off, but fMRI scanning is already being used to try to figure out what we want to buy and how to sell it to us. It's a new field called neuromarketing. One of its pioneers is neuroscientist Gemma Calvert, co-founder of a London company called Neuroscience.
Do you have a lot of clients?
Yes, such as Unilever, Intel, McDonald's, Procter & Gamble, MTV or Viacom.
And she says it's a growing field.
What we've seen is a sort of snowballing effect over the last few years. I think there are about 92 neuromarketing agencies worldwide.
But some experts question whether it's ethical to scan the brain for commercial purposes and say neuromarketers may be promising more than they can really deliver.
If you image my brain and you say, aha, Paul craves chocolate chip cookies, and I say, no, I don't. Now, are you going to believe the brain over me? You can only do that if you have proven that that part of the brain lighting up means in all cases that that person desires chocolate chip cookies. And what a lot of people are doing is they're just imaging the brain, then they're declaring what that means, and they're never proving that it actually translates into behavior.
You know, it's very interesting. When you show someone a brain scan, people just believe it. It just reeks of credibility.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
And you telling me that's the area where people add and subtract, I thought, well, of course, he knows.
But I could have told you anything.
I know.
So as brain imaging continues to advance and find its way into the courts, the market, and who knows what other aspects of our lives, one message is be cautious. Another is get ready. Back at Carnegie Mellon, Just and Mitchell have already uncovered the signatures in our brains for kindness, hypocrisy, and love.
It's breathtaking
Yes.
and kind of eerie.
Well, you know, I think the reason people have that reaction is it because it reveals the essence of what it means to be a person. All of those kinds of things that define us as human beings are brain patterns.
We don't want to know that.
Well,
that it all boils down to, I don't know, molecules and things like that.
But we are, you know, we are biological creatures. You know, our limbs we accept are, you know, muscles and bone. And our brain is a biological thinking machine.
Do you think one day, who knows how far into the future, there'll be a machine that'll be able to read very complex thought, like, I hate so-and-so, or, you know, I love the ballet because.
Definitely, definitely. And not in 20 years, I think in 3-5 years. Ample
in
does.
3 years?
Well, 5.
Who among us hasn't wished we could read someone else's mind, know exactly what they're thinking? Well, that's impossible, of course, since our thoughts are, more than anything else, our own. Private, personal, unreachable. Or at least that's what we've always, well, thought. Advances in neuroscience have shown that on a physical level, our thoughts are actually a vast network of neurons firing all across our brains. So if that brain activity could be identified and analyzed, could our thoughts be decoded? Could our minds be read? Well, a team of scientists at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh has spent more than a decade trying to do just that. We started our reporting on their work 10 years ago, and what they've discovered since has drawn us back. In Carnegie Mellon's scanner room, 2 floors underground,
Have a seat.
a steady stream of research subjects come to have their brains and thoughts read in this MRI machine. It's a type of scanning called functional MRI, fMRI.
All right, we'll cue it up and then we'll start.
That looks at what's happening inside the brain as a person thinks.
It's like being an astronomer when the first telescope is discovered, or being a biologist when the first microscope is developed.
Neuroscientist Marcel Just says this technology has made it possible for the first time to see the physical makeup of our thoughts.
Okay, are you ready to get started?
When we first visited Dr. Just's lab 10 years ago, he and his team had conducted a study. They put people in the scanner and asked them to think about 10 objects, 5 of them tools, like screwdriver and hammer, and 5 of them dwellings, like igloo and castle, while measuring activity levels throughout their brains. The idea was to crunch the data and try to identify distinctive patterns of activity for each object.
You had them think about a screwdriver, and the computer found the place in the brain where that person was thinking screwdriver?
Screwdriver isn't one place in the brain, it's many places in the brain. When you think of a screwdriver, you think about how you hold it, how you twist it, what it looks like.
And each of those functions are in different places?
Correct.
He showed us that by dividing the brain into thousands of tiny cubes and analyzing the amount of activity in each one, his team was able to identify unique patterns for each object.
You're reading their mind.
We're identifying the thought that's occurring. It's
Whoa.
incredible, just incredible.
Incredible, but only the beginning. In the decades since, Professor Just's lab has taken this technique and applied it far beyond hammers and igloos to increasingly complex thoughts. This is basic science, knowledge for knowledge's sake, not trying to cure disease, but to understand the fundamental workings of our bodies, and in this case, of our minds. One of Dr. Just's main questions was whether he could find patterns for abstract ideas. So he did a study asking people to think about forgiveness, gossip, spirituality. Could they be identifiable in the brain the way the screwdriver was? Remarkably, the answer was yes. This was the activation pattern when people thought about spirituality. And this was gossip.
One of my favorite subjects.
And you see a slightly different pattern.
One difference between the two was in areas of the brain scientists had already shown become active when we think about other people, circled in blue. Those areas lit up bright red when subjects thought about gossip, not so much for spirituality. In another study, Dr. Just tested whether patterns are the same when people think in different languages. They are. And he's asked acting students to conjure up emotions in the scanner to see if feelings have distinctive activation patterns too.
And what did you find?
Each emotion had its own characteristic values, and you could tell which one was which.
And it's the same in every head.
Amazingly, it was common across people.
Common across people? Does that mean we could put our colleague, associate producer Jamie Woods, into a scanner for the first time, and Dr. Just's team would be able to identify her emotions?
So she's seeing words.
For 9 seconds each, Jamie's job was to think of little scenarios that would conjure up the feelings on the screen. After she came out,
welcome back.
Thank you.
A computer program took the brain activation data gathered by the scanner and tried to decode her thoughts.
So what were you thinking about for disgust?
I was thinking of someone throwing up on me at like a baseball game. And
so could the computer read her brain patterns and tell what she'd been feeling?
The program's answer is, I think the emotion is disgust. The experienced emotion was actually disgust. That was correct.
Awesome.
Next.
I think the emotion is envy.
What were you thinking for envy?
I was just thinking of beautiful models.
The computer program got all of Jamie's emotions right.
It's reading what Jamie's feeling.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because it's so personal. We all think of our own thoughts as so individual, so intimate. How could anybody else's thoughts be like mine? And they are.
It's feelings, too.
Yes, feelings. Now, obviously, people think very different thoughts. But it's, like people choose to do different things with their bodies, but they all walk putting one foot in front of the other. Nobody walks sideways. Nobody walks backwards systematically. There's something about the biological apparatus that makes you act in a certain way with your body. And I don't think we realize the degree to which the biological apparatus that we have in our skulls governs, shapes the way we think.
Professor Just's goal is to one day create a dictionary of brain activation, a key to what all different thoughts look like inside our minds. But he also started wondering whether those definitions might be different in people with disorders like autism.
Okay, you're going to swing your legs up at this end.
Prior research had found structural differences in the brains of people with autism. So the question was whether thought patterns might differ too.
Hi, Jeff. This is Rob. How are you doing?
Dr. Just's team recruited 17 adults with autism and asked them, as well as 17 control subjects, to think about social interactions like adore, hug, humiliate, challenging terrain for many with autism. The results were striking. The activation patterns differed enough to tell who had autism and who didn't with 97% accuracy.
The people with autism thought of these social interactions apart from themselves.
As he showed us in these findings for the word hug, the key differences were in brain regions that activate when we think about ourselves, circled in blue.
Right there.
There and there, those areas light up much more among the controls.
Whereas the autism subjects showed far less activation.
They thought of it more like a definition of hug without self-involvement.
And that you saw it with word after word.
Yes.
I just thought, wow, this is the coolest thing I've heard in I don't know how long.
David Brent is a psychiatrist at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, where he runs a clinic for suicidal adolescents. He happened to attend a talk Marcel Just was giving about his autism findings and immediately wondered about his own patients.
So I went up to him afterwards and I said, would you be interested in talking about maybe doing a study on suicide?
You hear about cases of suicide where the person had been depressed, but you also hear of situations where people say, there was nothing wrong.
Suicide is a great mystery because the person who knows the most about why it happened isn't there to talk with. You try to reconstruct what happened, but nobody has a window into people's, interior thoughts.
Nobody, that is, except someone with a mind-reading device. Doctors Just and Brent began planning a pilot study to see if the scanner might reveal what is altered in the thoughts of people contemplating suicide. They reached out to Matt Nock, a Harvard professor who has studied how difficult it is for doctors and emergency rooms to know which patients are safe to send home. Is this the first time anybody's looked inside the brain to see about suicidal thoughts?
Yes. This is the first study I've ever heard of where someone's looked in the brain of someone who's suicidal, who's actively thinking about death or suicide.
You don't see life as something that's going to be fixed. The only way to get out of it is to kill yourself.
Dan Tosky, a former patient at Dr. Brent's clinic, volunteered to participate in the study to help scientists better understand suicidal thinking. Do you think in terms of the word pain?
Pain is when you break a limb or you have a migraine and it hurts so bad that you can't see. This, being depressed and suicidal, it's much greater.
Much greater.
Much greater than pain.
To be in the study, subjects had to have had suicidal thoughts within the prior month. They and control subjects were asked to think about words like funeral and death, as well as positive words, including praise, good, and carefree. In both categories, the suicidal group differed from controls. This is the group that's thinking about suicide. As with the autism study, the key differences turned out to be in those self-related areas. They lit up bright red among suicidal subjects when they thought about death-related words.
I give you the word funeral. What do you think about? Maybe your grandmother's funeral or something like that.
Exactly.
A suicidal person is much more likely to say my funeral.
For positive words, the findings were exactly the opposite. When the non-suicidal controls thought about the word carefree, they thought about something that involved themselves. Suicidal subjects significantly less so. Did you ever imagine that you could ask people to think about the word carefree and you'd be able to tell if someone was having suicidal thoughts?
No,
it's a breakthrough idea.
It's a lot of fun if you're a basic scientist to discover how things work, but there's an extra level of gratification when you learn that it's possibly helpful and useful.
This work is still in its infancy. Doctors Just, Brent, and Nock are doing a larger NIH-funded study to collect more data. And while for now it's too costly and cumbersome to put people into MRI scanners to see if it's safe to release them from the hospital, if they could come up with an easier way to do this.
Absolutely. Just like the first GPS was, a big computer in a big room, and now it's in all of our phones, if there's a way to, a few steps down the road, make much more compact this approach and bring it into emergency rooms and outpatient clinics, it could go a huge way towards moving forward clinical care.
But as this technology advances toward fulfilling its full promise, it's hard not to also wonder about its peril. Will it ever be possible to read someone's thoughts precisely?
The thoughts are there precisely if you could just get close enough to the electrical activity.
You think one day we'll figure out how to do that?
Yes.
Which means that we'll never be able to have our thoughts completely secure within ourselves.
I think it will be technologically possible to invade people's thoughts, but it's our societal obligation to make sure that never happens.
You can't wave a wand and make intolerance, hardship, and violence disappear, but you can use magic to try. We learned that after visiting a remarkable school in Cape Town, South Africa. It's called the College of Magic. While it's not an accredited institution, it is a real-life Hogwarts, a school filled with students ranging in age from 10 to 18, and more importantly, reflecting South Africa, they come from privilege and poverty. Pick a canard, any canard. Sleight of hand, juggling, ventriloquism, card tricks, you can learn it all at the College of Magic. But what the school really teaches is also the great superpower of magic itself, rethinking the limits of possibility. It looks like any other campus. Gothic architecture, a diverse student body, a core curriculum, all balanced with electives. To become masters of magic, these kids must be both tacticians and technicians.
Up, down, across.
And pull down one at a time.
Like any art form, this one requires practice, application, discipline.
6 spades. Diamonds.
There is no magic bullet. While students attend academic school during the week, they come here after school, on weekends and on holidays.
Is it the squad? No.
It takes 6 years to earn a diploma.
1, 2, 3.
Sinatemba Bawuti is a teacher, a graduate, and himself now a practicing magician. He shows students the tricks of the trade.
What is it about magic? What appeals to you so much about this?
I didn't think that I would be doing this as a career or performing it, like doing it like to support myself. I want to put a smile on people's faces, make them happy, entertain them, break ice. That's what I wanted to do. But then it became my thing, like that I'm using to feed my family and myself. So it's 1 and then you transfer.
And he says he and the school aim to teach the kids honesty, humility, and respect.
Sounds like the tricks and the juggling is only a small part of it.
Yeah, it's not a college of magic, it's a college of life.
Let's go have a look upstairs.
For the revered dean and founder, David Gore, it's been 40 years since he stopped practicing law and pulled the ultimate bit of misdirection.
Oh, wow.
In his hometown of Cape Town, he opened a college, the only school of its kind devoted to wonder.
I'm surely not the first person to make the joke. You gave up law to pursue a career of deception.
I don't like to think of it as deception. We like to think of it as of illusion and wonderment. This is giving some of the game away.
Gore's encyclopedic knowledge and love of magic fills the halls, quite literally. Contraptions and memorabilia trace the history of illusion.
Even with all the sophistication around us, there's nothing more exciting than seeing a magician live and seeing something appear or disappear right under your nose.
Well, what do you attribute that to?
I think people genuinely are very interested in and curious about how the laws of nature can be suspended. And I think the magician offers that opportunity, that gateway to a world which we all would love to be part of, where gravity is always pulling us to planet Earth, where we can float upwards. It's a beautiful feeling.
Nothing here is quite as it seems. When we visited last July, students were preparing for the annual Children's Magic Festival.
We have a dress rehearsal.
What do you think, turban or no turban?
I like the turban. It's a good look. Whoa.
Turn up your cord, please.
Turn it up?
Yes.
Very good. That was a winner.
I'm coming to our close-up theatre. Come inside.
Michael Barta has been teaching here for decades.
I teach children how to use their hands. And this I do. Okay, I was juggling 3 balls. Somebody's taken my book.
The school was always conceived to go beyond hocus pocus. Is magic about what you see or what you miss? Barta thinks it's both.
So how many balls do I have?
Magic develops skepticism and curiosity. Those 2 things are needed in education.
But that's great. You come here, there's a healthy skepticism. How did he do that?
Yeah.
And it's mixed with this curiosity, this wonder.
Exactly.
How did he do that?
I know. How did he do that? Wow.
This one's spinning around.
From the school's beginning, it reflected a cross-section of South Africa. Now, as then, students come from the most wealthy suburbs and from Cape Town's most impoverished townships. Duma McCorkey's day starts at dawn in the tin shack he shares with his grandmother and aunt. Duma's mother was murdered 4 years ago. The sprawling shanty town, like so many others in the country, is pocked by violence and drugs.
Some of them are carrying guns, and some of them are carrying knives, like busy robbing old people, like being on drugs and stuff. So like I have to be indoors because I have gunshots.
You're describing gunshots and knives and drugs and gangs, and you come here, it must be a bit of a relief.
It helped me a lot. Like, it saved me from doing those stuff because I became an artist and like I became to take care of myself.
You say artist?
Yeah, you're a magician, you're an artist because it's art. Yeah.
In the townships, you don't come across many bow ties. So when Duma passes by, he draws attention. A quick bit of whiz. And gee whiz. And he's off. The school arranges transportation when needed, shuttling the kids on the long journey into the city. There is no uniform as such, but students are encouraged to dress as smartly as they can. For many, going to the school marks a rare opportunity to get out of the township. Tuition is $350 a year, unaffordable for most of the 130 students. The college, a nonprofit, raises funds for scholarships, breakfast and lunch included.
You have some kids coming here who are malnourished. You have to feed. You have other kids getting picked up by parents in fancy sports cars. Is that hard for you to watch?
Yes, I think it's an important part of our nation building and for understanding that young people get to understand how each other is living and how we think and how we approach life. Because these are going to be the young people who are going to drive this nation forward.
I could see some people watching this saying, this College of Magic is all well and good, and you're teaching kids to make coins disappear, but why aren't you teaching them coding or something more practical?
I think the most important skill in the 21st century is going to be imaginative thinking, because no matter which career you select to go into, it's going to no longer be your knowledge around that, because that knowledge is so freely available now on the internet. It's going to be how you use that knowledge. And there is no better topic or subject than magic to explode the whole idea of imagination.
They trade their cape for a three-piece suit or for a sports jersey or for a nurse's attire. You're okay with that?
Absolutely.
15-year-old Nakane Ntame is a rising star at the college. But 4 years ago, she had to beg her mother to allow her to enroll.
And then I was like, Mom, I would like to join this. What are you talking about? I want to become a magician. And she thought I was crazy, but here I am today.
Here you are. Your mom said you were crazy for wanting to be a magician.
Because they do not believe in magic. Look away, please.
Not only that, for many in the townships, magic is associated with the occult or witchcraft.
The first time I performed for my grandmother, right? So she does not understand magic at all. And every time she would see magic, like, buloyi, which means darkness, evil powers and stuff like that.
People are saying, I don't understand, explain it to me. What do you tell them?
Oh, that magic is not black magic. We do not practice any kinds of spells, dark spells. There are actually secrets behind the magic, and it takes time to practice and master it.
This effect you must follow very, very carefully because a lot of things happen.
Milo Dreyer-Smith says his mom had to convince him to enroll.
Before I came to College of Magic, I was very shy. So I couldn't dance even in front of my brother and sister. I would just kind of go hide behind my mom, and my mom said I need to learn SI skills.
SI is social intelligence.
Yes. And then when we learned about the College of Magic, she was like, that is the perfect spot. Firstly, you'll get into a good high school because you have lots of different talents. And secondly, it's SI skills.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to take a risk. You came here for more social intelligence, to come out of your shell a little bit.
It seems like it's working.
Yeah, it is working.
Being a magician, do you feel like you're part of a secret society, a secret club?
Yes. Like a secret agent of a big force.
Let's do a role play. Milo, tell me how you do that trick.
No.
Why not?
Because you're a dunderhead and you wouldn't be able to understand.
I'm a dunderhead.
Yes, you are.
Never give up your secrets, though, right?
Actually, all my family has learned all of it by now, because when I practice for a performance, they pick up my mistakes.
Your family can keep a secret?
I'm not sure about my sister.
10 miles and an incalculable distance from where Milo lives, meet Lulo Stofile, Lulo the Great, as he calls himself.
Lulo the Great.
He lives in a one-bedroom home with his father Sean, mother Belinda, and little sister Lolu.
Forgot something.
He too transformed after joining the College of Magic.
He's like hyperactive.
Was he always that way?
No, he was too shy, like her sister.
This guy was shy?
Very, very shy.
I don't believe it.
Very, very shy.
But for Belinda and Sean, magic is more than a tool to get Lulo out of his shell. It might also be his path out of poverty.
Bravo. I said to Lulo each and every day, continue with your magic.
Continue with your magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fly wherever you want to go to. It's your life, it's not my life. But the only thing that I want from you
is to succeed.
To succeed in life.
Succeed in life.
That's it.
One day, gonna be a famous magician.
One day you're going to be a famous magician. Is that what you want?
Yes, and it will happen.
3, Lulo. But first things first. Tomorrow is the Children's Magic Festival, and Lulo can barely contain himself. What's the goal tomorrow?
The goal tomorrow is to show people who I am. I'm Lulo the Great, the juggler, spinning rings, all that stuff.
Cards, juggle, dancing. What doesn't Lulo the Great do?
Lulo the Great doesn't do only one thing, many stuff,
He's a man of many talents.
many talents.
There was an abundance of talent on display, and there was an abundance of wide-eyed wonder.
1, 2, 3,
Kids and parents and this correspondent converged on the college. Duma McCorkey was among the showstoppers.
Some of them, it's the first time to see this. I bring happiness to the kids. That's why I feel happy, because I'm making them happy.
Everybody, the magic plant!
You're not just making them happy, you're making them wonder. You're expanding their idea of possibility and imagination.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
But you don't give it up when they say, how'd you do it?
It's magic. It's magic.